Hello everyone, welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is a place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, and all the things it takes to help you live the highest quality, most fulfilling life. I'm here today with a repeat guest, Sarah Ward from Oasis Springs Farm in Nashua, New Hampshire. And last time we talked about Oasis Springs, the farm, and Sarah being a farmer, and the whole process of hydroponic farming. Today we're getting into the food part of it, Yay! The part where we get to use the fork. And so welcome and thank you for agreeing to come back and bringing my food today. I can't wait to go through that. Maybe we can start with what's in the menu for today. What did you bring me?
Oh, for your share? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, my shares. So I'm eager to look to see what we get.
We usually write it on the side. So this one has spinach chard and broccoli microgreens in there.
Okay. So
and lettuce, of course.
Yeah. So I'm going to just jump in here really quickly and look at this, and then put it back in the cooler. But I want to see what's in the bag. So, so these look like microgreens. What's this?
So those are broccoli microgreens.
Broccoli,
yep.
Okay.
And broccoli microgreens. So microgreens are like really nutritiously dense. They're kind of like sprouts, but you don't include the seeds with them. So you can use them in a variety of different ways. A lot of times you see them as like garnish for a dish to make something fancy.
Yeah, I've been kind of putting them on top of my salad.
That's like the number one way people use it, is just throw them into your salad. You get a nutritional boost and it makes it pretty. So yeah, people like to do that. And certain ones have certain flavors to them too. So like the radish ones have like a spicy flavor.
You know what I did with those? I got some radish ones in last week, I think. I sauteed them.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You can do whatever you want with your own ingredients.
They were good.
Yeah.
They were just a little spicy, but of course once you put this in, and it just takes a second. It doesn't take maybe like 30 seconds, but they really condense down to hardly anything. But they're flavorful and they'll quickly get crispy, so a little change in texture.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. A lot of people like microgreens too. Is the whole avocado toast phase right now. So if you want getting your greens in the morning, which I think is important because a lot of people don't think about eating vegetables in the morning. Yeah. But avocado toast is a great way to do it. So oftentimes I'll take a piece of toast, throw on some avocado, maybe a hard-boiled egg if I want a little extra protein, and then throw the microgreens on top.
On the top.
Yeah, it gets a little messy. I wouldn't
do you do it with a knife and fork, or do you pick it up?
It depends on how much of a hurry I'm in.
And how much of a mess you've made.
Yeah, and if you're going to go in the car with it, I recommend like a top and a bottom and not just open face. But
yeah. So this is what? Spinach?
So this is spinach chard. So it's...
Wait a minute. This has been a mystery. I posted this online and nobody could guess what it is. So it's not spinach or chard.
It's more of a chard variety, but it has more of a spinach flavor than like a lot of people say Swiss chard tastes more. There's more of a dirty flavor to it, but this is more of a spinach flavor. And spinach tends to be kind of like the gateway green for people because it's got a lot of nutrition, but it also doesn't have a lot of taste to it. Yeah. So people like it as like a base for things, or if you want to try to hide your greens into something.
This is a bit more firm, I think.
Yeah, that's what the chard grows a little bit more firmer. So what's nice about this is when you cook with spinach, you start out with the joke is you start out with like a big barrel and you end up with like this much. It really cooks down. With the chard doesn't cook down as much, so you can use a little bit less of it and still get that into your eggs or whatever you're sauteing into it.
Yeah, and I've used it different ways. I saute it. Sometimes I use it raw. If I'm using a light lettuce, I might add a little bit of this to just give, because I like texture, different texture. So, and
that's what's nice about the different greens is you get the different textures. So the lettuces and the kales and the chards, they all add a different thing to your menu.
And these are the heads that we get. Yeah. So what kind of lettuce is this?
So that's actually a red butter head.
A red butter. And it comes with the root system. So what I do is I break this off, and then I have my little tower garden at home. Okay. And I stick the ends in, and I still get some like new heads, and believe me, I'm still waiting for Tuesdays for my delivery because I ate them all. But
that's the good thing about lettuce is it will grow back if you replant the base of it. So you'll get a little bit more from it.
And so that's that one. And usually in a delivery, I get 5 or 6 heads. It depends on the size. Sometimes you throw an extra bonus one in.
Yeah, it depends on how much we grow for the week.
Yeah. What's
and
this?
the size. So that's the same kind. That's a red butterhead as well.
Red butterhead. So it's just a little bit bigger one.
This one's different. This is a red oak leaf. So you can definitely see more of the red color.
Yeah, deeper color.
Yeah.
I think this is the one I told you looks like a big flower.
It does look like a big flower.
Yeah, this one's a little messy right now. But when it grows, it's got some beautiful symmetry.
Yeah.
But yeah, delicious. What's this guy?
So that is a green bib. So it's got that nice deep green bib color to it.
Yeah. And again, different textures to them.
Yeah.
And last but not least, who's this?
Let's see, that one.
Oh, no, there's 2 more.
Yep, that's a green leaf one.
Leaf,
so you can use those. Those are a little bit bigger leaves if you want to use them for like wraps or anything like that. That's another great way to get your greens.
And so fresh.
And then this one is called Red Fire. So again, it's got the little red tips on it.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a curly design.
Yeah, curly, lacy look. So what I end up with when I don't cut any of this, I just rip it off and put it into my bowl. I end up with something very beautiful. I'm going to have you put that back in the cooler for me. And I put everything, this is my favorite bowl I like to use because it's not that deep. And so I can kind of spread out my my goods. And when I put my, whatever I might want to supplement with, I might cut up a pepper or a cucumber, or a different variety of onion, or maybe some garlic. And then when I dress it, I just use a little olive oil. I might mix it ahead, but really, I usually don't. I usually just pour it on. If I'm being very good, I might measure it, but after a while, you get used to it. And then a little apple cider vinegar, and then a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. That's it.
Yeah.
It's time to eat. I might let it sit a little bit, because one of the things I learned is if you don't, once you put your dressing on, your oil on, if you mix it, but just let it sit for a couple of minutes, not too long, it just soaks it in. If I have them, I'll also put something sweet like a strawberry or a blueberry. But that's my routine. So I just wanted to show my favorite bowl.
Yeah, I like it. I love it. That's a great bowl.
I sometimes use tongs to help to just mix it, to pick it up and mix it, or put it into a serving dish. But really, sometimes I really do
just sit in and dig in. Yeah,
it's
nice.
true.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you say. Like, it's so important. Like, nobody wants to sit down and just eat a plain bowl of romaine lettuce. I mean, you're not going to get excited about that.
Nobody wants to eat romaine right now.
Well,
anyway.
That's true too. That is very true. But so you need to add like the texture, you need to add the color, you need to add some different flavors, and that's going to get you excited about eating a salad.
A lot of this has to do with the way we're built as humans. A lot of the digestive process, you probably know this, but as a nurse and what I teach nutrition, is that we get signals from the food, even from the act of cutting the food. I'm starting to do it now. The salivary, you start to signal to your body that it's time to eat, and that digestive process starts even before you put the food in your mouth. So the way it looks, where there are signals in terms of color and shapes that the body recognizes whether this is something that we should be eating.
Yeah.
Smell, all the different things.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, I think, get maybe not discouraged, but they're like, oh my gosh, there's so much work that's involved with putting together a nice salad, because now we're talking about texture and colors and stuff like that, but there's a lot of stuff you can do ahead of time to prep for the week of what your salads are going to be. So, I mean, you have some nice variety of veggies here that you can pre-cut up, like say on a Sunday, and just cut up a whole bunch of veggies, and then you have like an instant salad bar in your refrigerator. So then, you can go in and be like, okay, today I'm going to have a salad with some red pepper and some onion, and I'll throw some egg on it. But then maybe tomorrow I'm going to do cucumber and a little feta and onion, just to change. So every day you're having a salad, but you're changing up the taste and look and stuff like that.
Yeah, one of the things I figured out, so simple, is if I cut up this onion, it's kind of big, right? So I could eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't usually. So what I was doing is cutting it up, stopping here, and then putting the onion in a container to save it. And then one day I thought, well, since I'm out and I got the knife dirty, why don't I finish the cutting, which only takes me another 20 seconds, and then I'll put that in a little glass container with a tight lid to it. And then when I want a slice of onion, I don't have to cut it again. So the next step is even easier. I don't usually cut too much up ahead because I don't like my veggies soggy, but they'll last a good couple days, or I'll go back and they're gone because now my kids ate them. I'm like,
But that's a good thing, right? We want our kids to eat more veggies.
Absolutely, but sometimes they won't because they don't want to go through the trouble of cutting and taking the 2 minutes to cut, because then it's like, who left the dishes in the sink, and then it turns into a family brawl. So
but if you do it all at once on the weekend, then you only have to clean once. And
do you do salads in a jar?
I do salads in a jar. And actually, I was going to say too, these are just regular mason jars that you can get at like the craft store, or even the even your supermarket sells them as well.
You can get them too in cases, very cheap.
Very cheap, But what's nice about it has kind of like a seal in it, so. I'll talk about the jar salads, but even these are nice to store your veggies. For the
and get the wide mouth.
Get the wide mouth one because you can put a lot more in it.
And you can get it out quicker.
But these are nice too because they're tall and they're clear, so you can see exactly what you have in your refrigerator. And again, it looks like a nice little salad bar.
So I think I have a friend who does these, and she has a technique of how you layer it. Do you know about that?
Yep, I do. So what's important is if you're going to put a dressing in with it, which you can, you want to put that in the bottom, like a thin layer because you're not going to need much.
Right.
And then you want to put your thicker vegetables on the bottom.
So I might put my cucumbers.
So you might put your cucumbers, your peppers, and yes, maybe if you have big chunks of onion, put them on the bottom there.
Okay.
And then you want to do, if you were doing any kind of grains, you would do that as well. And then you want to put your leafy greens on top of that. So that's the important thing, to layer it. And then if you want to shake it up, you leave a little bit of space at the top. So then when you get to your work and you want to just eat it out of the jar, you can just shake it up and your salad dressing will shake up with it, or you can dump it into a bowl as well.
Do they let kids bring things like this to school? Is it glass
permitted?
Think
so, yeah.
I'm wondering if they let kids do that. That's a good question.
My kids' school has not sent out a note about that yet. I'm sure it's coming, but right now I think they can bring a glass in, And I'm one of those people too that I like to use glass versus plastic, just because you don't get anything leaching into your food.
Right, same with me. But I was thinking there might be cases where that's a problem. But what a great thing to teach your kids, and they can actually be part of, we've done it before with kids and where they're part of the building process. So we can have kind of a potluck where we each bring in a vegetable, or maybe a vegetable semi-prepared, and then spread them out, sort of like tacos, like when you do that. And then everybody gets to pick from all the vegetables that are there and build their salad. It's sort of a fun community event to do, a party kind of thing.
Kids love when they get to pick their own food. So if you're offering some healthy food, they're more apt to eat that healthy food if they have choices there. Kids also love the process of growing food. So in the summertime, if you can do a little garden outside, or even a container garden outside on your deck with like a little bit of lettuce and some herbs and stuff like that, and just get them into the process of seeing where food comes from, and that they can go out and pick it, and then they can enjoy and realize what a fresh picked lettuce tastes like compared to some of the stuff that you get in the grocery store.
I think you said that to me earlier, is if you want a salad or vegetables to taste good, start with good vegetables. I mean, we're so tainted now that we don't know where things coming from all over. And of course I worry because you don't know about the Environmental Working Group.
I don't know if I know about that.
So Environmental Working Group their website is ewg.org, and they are the ones that post the Dirty Dozen list and the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen list is the vegetables that are most likely to be sprayed with pesticides, so they're more susceptible. I don't think this is on the Dirty Dozen, but I think this is. And lettuces are always on the Dirty Dozen because they're so susceptible to pests, and so they're more likely to be sprayed.
Yeah, any kind of leafy green, because with leafy greens you don't have like a protective coating
Right.
on it. So like,
Yeah.
you know, the pepper doesn't have a protective coating either, you eat that. But with the onions, you'll be taking off the outer layer.
I think cucumbers might be on the dirty dozen
yeah,
list.
they might be as well.
Yeah.
But like garlic, I don't think
Not
is
garlic
as much.
or onions
Yeah.
or like the butternut squash, probably not.
And that's why you see, you know, in the news recently with the whole E. coli thing with romaine lettuce. I mean, that leafy greens are going to be more susceptible to those kind of things because they don't have a protective coating
Right.
on them. And then the way that they're picked and packaged and shipped and stuff like that, you're more susceptible to that kind of stuff.
And I know you're not growing romaine right now, but the difference is you're not using soil.
Right. We don't use soil. And we use, it's hydroponics, so we put the nutrients into the water
Yeah.
as well. Also, we're an enclosed environment, which helps as well, because not only do you have to worry about the soil, then you also have to worry about animals or bugs and stuff like that spreading disease as well. So, yeah.
see.
So there's some advantages to that as well. Yep.
So salad in a jar. That sounds like
Yeah.
a fun activity.
So what's
and-
nice about these too is you can prepare those ahead of time as well. So I've done them where they've lasted up to 5 or 6 days.
The complete salad.
The
way you
complete salad.
described it?
Yep, yep. Even with the dressing at the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And you know, just it's nice to have a variety too with the stuff that you're adding to the salad. So you know, some grains are always good, like your healthy grains, your brown rice, your quinoa, millet, that kind of stuff. And then
Yeah.
beans I think are nice too
Yeah.
to add in. Those are hearty and they hold up well in the jar salads. If
Yeah.
you have any leftover chicken.
Yeah.
From barbecues or you know, those big rotisserie chickens
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you can get, those are nice to cut up and add to them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put them right in with the salad in the
Yep,
salad jar.
yep.
The proteins maybe go towards the bottom.
They go more towards the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really like how heavy they are, and
Yeah.
always the lettuce at the top.
Always the lettuce at the top. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And again, you can use different greens. You can use lettuce, but there's like arugula. You can do a kale salad as well. So yeah, a lot of different options.
What are some of the other vegetables you grow? What are beside the ones we talked about today?
So we are primarily leafy green, so we do
Yeah.
a lot of lettuce.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of lettuce. We do kale, we do the spinach chard, we do rainbow chard
Yeah.
as well. We also do a lot of herbs. So
Yeah.
we do some dill, parsley
Yeah.
is nice, and it's nice to add to salads as well.
I've been using a lot more parsley lately.
Yeah.
With that, I had a mystery green the other day. I'm going to guess it was maybe pea, but
Oh, pea shoots.
what,
Yeah.
am I right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So they looked like you blended some of the microgreens, like maybe the broccoli with dill. They had like different features. I was like, what is
You're
this?
like, what is this?
Yeah. And I tasted it, and that's where I thought maybe peas.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't seen peas growing in a long time, and so I ended up sautéing those, and they were delicious.
Yeah,
sautéed.
Because
They're a little bit chewier.
yes, yeah, they're a little bit more stockier.
Yeah.
So the beginning of a pea plant is really what they are, but
Yeah.
we consider those part of the microgreens
Yeah.
that we grow. One of the benefits of microgreens is that the flavor and taste is so intense.
Yeah.
In the first 7 to 14 days when something is growing.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that too, like the broccoli microgreens. You know, they look small, but they have a mighty taste.
Yeah.
Punch to them.
Yeah, you
so-
can taste the broccoli, you can taste the radish, you can taste and I was able to identify that it was a pea flavor, but it's just so delicious. And then when I just lightly sautéed it, with the oil, I think that helps absorbing nutrients better, but it just added a nice accent. I had it with my eggs.
Yeah.
I always post my food pictures.
Yeah. Well, again, and I'm always trying to sneak more vegetables into my diet all the time too.
Yeah.
And breakfast, I feel like, is one of those where people don't think about doing vegetables in the morning. But if you can start your day off with a serving of vegetables, your day is just going to get better from there, right?
Yeah. Well, my new favorite thing is I posted it. I said always play with your food, but I'll slice up onions and saute them, and then I'll take 2 eggs in the pan and just throw the eggs on top. And it's all because the pan is already hot now, and the onions are done. And then I'll just give it a quick flip and take that out, and then I'll either saute some of the more hardy greens, or else I'll just take the lettuces and put that on the side with it. So I'll have a little bit of lettuce. And the reason I got this idea, beside from you, is I went to one of those trendy South Boston restaurants, and that's what they did for brunch. And I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, I can do that at home.
I can do that, yeah. So I did that, and then the sweetness of the onion, just nice within the omelet, was so nice and pretty. And then one day I did cut up some greens really small, chard, I think. No, I mean kale.
Okay.
And I made hair. I think I posted this one. Eyes and a
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're like, you got to play with your food, right?
Yeah,
You got to get creative and stuff like that. Yeah. For breakfast, a lot of times I'm very busy in the morning with kids and farm and all that stuff. So what I like to do a lot of times too is use leftover vegetables from like dinners before. So I'm big on roasting like a ton of vegetables over the weekend. So right now I usually go by season. Right now I'm really big into Brussels sprouts and any kind of squashes, that kind of stuff. Onions roast well. So I'll just make like a big sheet of vegetables.
Yeah.
And then in the morning I'll saute them, but it takes less time because they're already roasted.
Yeah.
And get that nice roasted
I'll
flavor.
even put those in the mic real quick.
Yeah.
And then toss them on like the hot cold.
Yeah, you can toss them on a salad
or have them as an accent with eggs.
Yeah. And then a lot of times I'll do the over easy egg on top, so then you get the little bit of the creaminess of the egg. It's funny.
That's a good idea.
It took me 40 years to like eggs like that, and I always thought that was so gross, but then I don't know, your taste buds change, you know, so I like that as well.
I've seen some other, I know there are some companies, I think True Fare does one where they make a kind of a hash, and they'll take those roasted veggies and they'll blend it with ground turkey or ground pork, clean versions of those, or ground beef, and they make a hash. So for people that are like, I don't know what to have for breakfast, and I don't want eggs. I'm sick of eggs, and so, or I can't eat eggs. Maybe they have an allergy. So I often recommend that, and it's so easy to just take that blend of things. And like I said, you could have a little sweet potato, a little couple pieces of pepper, the ground stuff, maybe some ground up of the hardy greens, and then some fresh greens on the side. Yeah, and makes a splendid breakfast.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing about the American diet too, is people think breakfast, they think eggs, they think cereal, they think toast. But in other parts of the world, they're having soup and salad and, rice bowls and stuff like that. And I think if we get out of the mindset that we have to have certain foods for breakfast, you can have anything. You can have leftovers, you can have a salad. Sometimes I have soup, like in the morning, if I want something warm, I'll heat up some like kale soup that I've already made ahead of time and stuff.
I think soup for breakfast is awesome. I'm into this thing with, I call it timed eating or intermittent fasting, where I like to shorten my window, so I'm not eating all day and grazing all day. Working from home for so many years as I did in my past, I got into the habit of, just because the kitchen was there and always open. So just, having a nice meal that I prepare and enjoy. I never feel like I'm on a diet, and I don't need to be. And then there's a space, and then I eat, and then there's a space, and then I eat. But that time from bed to the next time I eat. So I think we should ban breakfast, basically. So break the fast is, you eat your breakfast. It's when you break the fast. So it can be any time, and what makes sense, and that's what you can work out with your practitioner or coach, like with what I do. And so at that time, whatever happens to me, often for me it's 11 o'clock. It might be more of a brunch. I'll call it breakfast or I'll call it lunch, but it's my first meal of the day. So that really takes care of this whole thing, because we've been, and I grew up as television grew up. At my age, 65, that television started out with selling kids stuff and cereals, and so I've been marketed to my entire life on having to eat cereals and getting some kind of a prize inside of it. That comes with it.
Me too. I remember those. Yeah.
And I think so you don't have to have cereal or breakfast foods. It's so important.
Yeah, and I think, people they say the word veggie and people just cringe. And I think we just need to get out of the mindset of that. It's like, veggies can be good tasting, if you just make them right.
And speaking of which, we have about 5 minutes left. I know you shared a bunch of recipes with me, and you have something over here that I wanted
yes.
to ask you about.
So this is actually pesto that you can make with greens. So your typical pesto is basil, pine nuts, and olive oil.
Right.
But there's so many other recipes out there. So this is a pesto I made. And what I usually do is, I think this is a kale one, kale and maybe sunflower seeds and olive oil.
And you just use
and
a
garlic,
little
thing.
Ninja blender.
Yeah, I put it in
food
I have a
processor.
Vitamix that I use, and so I'll grind up a whole bunch, and then what I typically do is I'll put it in an ice cube tray and I'll freeze it.
Yeah.
And so then when I want to make a pasta and throw in some pesto, I'll just take off one cube and stir it up. So it's portion controlled, but also will last for a long time too if you keep it in the
Sure.
freezer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the other thing too, just I was going to bring real quick is people don't think about veggies at dessert time either, but we have a really good recipe for kale, pineapple, and coconut milk.
Yeah.
You blend that up. It's still super sweet even though it has no sugar in it.
Yeah.
And then you can get like these freezer popsicle things. You put it in, freeze it, and then you have this nice little treat at night that you're also getting a serving of vegetables.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And what is in the?
This is just salad mix that I brought.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah. So I've seen these in some
the
supermarkets.
stores. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
just
got your Oasis Springs Farm label, so you know if it's here that it came straight from the farm and
Yep.
it's pesticide free. So what are some of the other kid-friendly recipes? That's another thing I get a lot of requests for.
So there's definitely, if you go on like Facebook or Pinterest and stuff, you can see lots of different ideas. But you know, people get creative with salads and make the cucumbers into like little smiley faces
Yeah.
or stars for like different holidays and stuff like that. And again, I think if you can just get kids involved with the process of doing vegetables and making it fun, I've seen play with your food. You can
Yeah.
make plates with like the veggie eyebrows and use kale for hair. Then kids might be more up to try it. Just keep presenting it to them and just give them a little bit to try and you'll be surprised. Even adults too. Don't be afraid to try new things.
Some of the techniques I've used with my grandkids have been, and my grandkids, because that's another whole story. That's the McDonald's.
For next
time. Yeah, that's the fast food generation.
Yeah.
So, but with my grandkids, I'll say, well, I know you don't want to taste it, but will you smell it? Or will you? So I get them to get closer to it.
Yeah.
So touch it, smell it. I even got my grandson to dip his finger in and taste it like that.
Yeah.
So just getting them closer and closer to it and not forcing it. I think that is a mistake when people, up to this day, I can't eat cream corn because somebody tried to force me when I was a child.
Yeah.
So, which isn't a vegetable anyway because that's a grain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just having fun with it, being around it, and just keep re-exposing.
Yeah. And even trying different techniques. Like I know with Brussels sprouts, I grew up with Brussels sprouts cooked in like a cheese sauce and microwaved, and just the smell of it, I did not want to go near it. But roasted Brussels sprouts are one of my favorite foods nowadays.
I made some the other day, and they were so crispy, like chips and flavorful. Just a little olive oil on top, salt and pepper. That's all I did.
Yeah.
And delicious. And so
they
go well on a salad too, like a hot and cold version with a little. Maybe if you're in a hurry, a rotisserie chicken, you can get an organic one at Whole Food for $9 if you want to spend the big money. But I Market Basket, $5 rotisserie chicken, and your meal's prepared in a healthy meal. It's in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned the salad dressing too. One of my favorite versions is a little bit of Dijon mustard.
Yes.
With apple cider vinegar and olive oil.
Do you use a
shake
little
it
squeeze
up.
bottle or something?
Actually, I use like a little. It's like a baby food jar bottle, and I put it in there, and then I just shake it up.
Ooh, that's
and
a
put
good
it on
idea
there.
with the little baby food size.
Because then you can take it with you too. But it's like the honey mustards that you get, but without all the extra stuff that a lot of times when you buy them in the supermarket.
And you don't need a lot of the Dijon.
You don't need a lot. It's got some good flavor to it. And if you want to make it a little bit more sweeter, you can add a little bit of honey or maple syrup to it.
Yeah.
And then it's really, really good.
And don't worry about the sugar. It's such a small amount.
It's just a small amount. And it's the natural kind.
Picking, the source. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I feel like there's never enough time to get into,
especially when we're talking about food. I love food, so I can talk about it all day long.
And thank you for helping to make me more healthy and giving me some great choices. And making my week so delicious. So,
Thanks for having me
yeah,
again.
Yeah.
Cool.